have to ask, it's been so many years doing what you do, and it's obvious you're passionate about it. Would you say it's been fulfilling, and it was the best decision you ever made?
Well, it's interesting. It's a good question. I made that decision in my year 3 when I was in university. And it was the answer to the question. If there was no possibility of failure, what would you do for the rest of your life? And the answer was art, visual art. And yes, I have not regretted any second of making that decision. It's been a very fulfilling journey for me.
Now, usually anytime I talk to creatives or superstars, I like to ask a bit about, their childhood. And I know that through some research that as a teenager, you liked drawing. And then you studied law. But then you were doing this. A part of my mind is curious to, if you're the same child on the inside, if your mind has evolved over the many years, if you're still, the same person who was not afraid to do this, what would you say has changed from that kid of many years ago?
I've always tried to keep that, childlike curiosity alive. I mean, life comes at you and necessities and things come, maturity and the rest of it. But that curiosity, that ability to explore and not be afraid of failing that I had as a child, I try as much as possible to keep it alive. Because that in itself becomes the energy that propels you to create, to discover new ways. And our creative world requires be in a constant state of change.
I like to say, collaboration over competition. But staying in the industry for such a long time, and creating such a mark and inspiring people, it's hard not for there to be competition, for you to, how do you say, this is me, this is my stance, this is my work, this is who I am, without, competing?
The thing is, other people come and they say, oh man, Kelechi is the best photographer in Nigeria, or the biggest photographer, the best photographer in Africa, and all those things. The truth, there is no such thing as best photographer. There's no such thing as best artist. There's only one Kelechi Amadi-Obi. And it is your uniqueness that makes you who you are. And once you can discover your voice as an artist, your true self, then there is no competition.
Interesting.
There is never any competition. It's only you and your creativity. Your competition is between you and yourself yesterday. Are you getting better than what you were before? Are you evolving? Are you remaining the same? And that is it for me. But people always like to make comparisons.
People do.
People love to do that. It makes them feel good.
It does.
People want to make sense of this our art world. They want something familiar. But we're in a constant state of creating new things. And it is not something you can compare with any other person. So far as you are true to yourself, so far as you are not copying somebody else. So if you're copying somebody else, then you can be compared. But once you understand who you are and you express that uniqueness of your inner artistic spirit, there is no comparison, there is no competition. It's either you want to use Kelechi Amadi-Obi or you don't.
I must say, creatives, they always find a way, an outlet to, express themselves. And, you said you do that with drawing, with photography. I'm wondering, is there a part of, your appearance that was important? And maybe you express it with fashion. Would you say your hair is one of those ways that you express yourself as well?
Well, I think communication, again, our art is a form of communication. Your appearance is a form of communication, and yes, the way you look, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you come across, your fashion, is all part of that self-expression. The decision to stop combing my hair, stop cutting it, came as a result of, I got too busy and I just didn't like the idea of going to visit the barbers once every week, you know, just to maintain that look. And I thought it was a waste of time and better things to do with my time. I just stopped going to the barbers, and I didn't bother combing the hair. And I said, you know what, I'm an artist. I have creative license. You know, I think this is not a bad idea. You know, so it was a bit of rebelling against the norms.
In this time, people would look at someone without and with, and maybe perhaps get the wrong perspective, you know, or narrative of who they are.
One thing I've come to be very comfortable with is the fact that the most important thing is how you see yourself. How do I see myself? Wearing my dreadlocks, it tells me that, oh, look, Kelechi, you're not just like every other person. You dare to look different. You know, you dare to look your own way. You're a pace setter. You're a person that decides how he wants to look. Now, how people see you, on the other hand, is a function of their own biases, their past, their cultural, you know, backgrounds, their religion, their personality. And those factors are factors beyond my control. And within a certain culture, yes, you could make generalizations, but ultimately each individual has their personal bias, which I can't be bothered about. Today it is rebellion, tomorrow it is the norm. And that is the way the world goes.
It would seem that not everyone has the power, the grace to be rebellious sometimes, you know? And there may be creatives out there who want to create, want to put out work, want to express themselves, but are limited because what would people say about this, you know? What advice would you have for such a creative person out there?
I would say the only choice you have is to be you, because you're the only person that you have. You know, trying to find out exactly what society wants from you is very difficult. Somebody once said, I don't know the definition of success, but I know the definition of failure. Trying to please everybody. You will never succeed at it. You know, and no matter what you do, there will be people who will like it and there will be people who would. And the only choice you truly have is to be yourself. And my advice to young creatives is this: have the courage to be yourself. It is the most powerful asset that you have. And that yourself we're talking about needs discovery. So you have to be in a constant state of self-discovery to say, these are my principles. This is who I am.
But what have you noticed about the opportunities available for the younger people right now? What do you think is a difference?
We're living in an age where it has never been easier to excel. When I got out of school, there was no internet. I still remember Bill Clinton talking about, oh, we're going to establish the World Wide Web. www. I still remember the first time I went to a cyber cafe.
Wow.
You know, then it was called Business Center.
Center.
I've realized how powerful it is. I've also realized how dangerous it is. It is terribly addictive. And I had to train myself, you know, to win myself off it.
Right.
Now, I mean, that was difficult. I still struggle with it, not to talk of people who are born into it. So it's quite interesting. It's interesting times.
Right. I mean, speaking about this modern time, I guess a very heavy conversation recently, even in music and in a lot of creative spaces, copyrights. You know, and even I thought to myself, okay, can I copyright a picture? If I take a picture and I post it, can't anybody take it?
The digital world completely turned the whole thing on its head. I mean, I started my photography with film. And the holy grail then was that keep your negatives. No client will ever ask you for your negatives. Are you crazy? You understand? You give them prints. So you had the negative, which was the original. But when it's a digital file, which one is your negative?
Negative.
Once you put it online, it's there. those of us who came from that age, a lot of us did not survive the digital world because we kept hiding our pictures. And in the digital world, you need to show it. You understand? So it became, I mean, you have some things you can do, you know, metadata, put your copyright thing there, put a watermark. But these days, I mean, AI can remove your watermark in a blink.
Second.
You understand?
Wow.
In fact, for people like me from the old school, there's work that I show and there's work that
you don't show.
Yeah, I mean, there's work that is made for publication. You know, there are work that are made for exhibition. There are limited edition prints. You won't see it on my Instagram. You know, so I find ways to protect some work, you know, and also find ways to show good work and share with the world.
You know, now that I think about it, my mind goes back in time to Depth of Field.
Oh.
I think that was 2001, if my research is correct. And even Style Mania magazine. And I thought things have changed so much. You know, people maybe don't buy physical copies as much of magazines, you know, and coming up with this collective back in the day.
Depth of Field, you know, was a wonderful way, like a segue for me to just pass into the photography world. And it was a wonderful environment where artists, individual artists, came together to encourage each other to create. It's a rare thing. That's why it's, you know, I mean, being an artist, you're very individualistic. It's difficult. There's a lot of clash, you know, but we found that common ground.